Hello, this is Christian Okoye, former Kansas City Chiefs. You are listening to Grueling Truth.
Welcome to the Grueling Truth Show, The Real Deal. I'm your host, Josh Benjamin. This show is all about sports for the most part, at least, and it's available on our website, the www.thegruelingtruth.net. It's on Spreaker, Stitcher, Google Music, iTunes, and now iHeartRadio with the search phrase Grueling Truth to find any of our shows to listen to anytime you like. The topic for today is kind of some things that we've talked about in the past in our previous shows, just kind of dabble a little bit on it, but it's on life skills and sports. And my guest today, his name is Dave Gehrich, and I'm going to kind of let Dave take over for a few minutes and kind of tell the viewers and listeners, I should say, not the viewers because really you don't want to see me anyway, that's why I'm on radio. But Dave, could you kind of tell our listeners out there the role that you play in different organizations?
Sure, Josh, and it's good to talk to you. I appreciate being here. Much like you, I have a face that was made for radio. My role has always basically been the same with the team, though I've had probably every title that you can think of. But I serve as the resource coach for North Decatur football, and really simply said, I am to serve the team and the coaches and the family and whatnot as a resource. So if something comes up that they need help with, I help with that. That's kind of the broad brush of what I do. And then inside or under that umbrella, if you will, I lead the team in pre and post game prayer. I take care of the team dinner each week with some kind of focusing message or whatnot. And then really, and probably my favorite part, to be honest with you, is I have little to no interest and even less ability to coach the players during the game. And so that frees me up. If you ever watch me at a game on the sidelines, I'm working the players, working the water girls, working the cheerleaders, and just basically interacting with the young people and being there for them, kind of help them, navigate the challenges they face on a regular basis. So that's kind of what my role is with the team.
Just for the listeners out there, Dave was and still is, obviously he said so at North Decatur High School, and I was there as a head coach of football team, varsity level, and so he was there when I was there, and that's how we are connected, and that's our network per se. But I think every high school, I would even say junior high, and maybe even youth organization needs someone very similar to Dave Gehrich when it comes to those positions that he just mentioned. A coach obviously is very important when it comes to learning the game and being able to teach the fundamentals and teach team chemistry and things like that. But to have someone kind of not there all the time per se, but there in those important times that needs reassurance of different things. And Dave does a great job with that. And I think that there needs to be a position available for every institution that has a student athlete.
Right.
Because
you're right. It's funny that as when you and I work together at North, and I guess I've worked with a few coaches now that in my position, a lot of times the sidelines will fill up, as you know, as a head coach, will fill up with many coaches. Many people that are trying to offer insight or guidance to that team, and it can get a little bit distracting. I think the advantage I've always had is that, like I said, I'm never going to tell that kid what play to play or how to block or how to tackle. That's not within me. But what I can do is it allows me to have a different relationship with those players. And a player may tell me something or talk to me about something that they would never discuss with their coach for fear of not getting to play or for fear of whatever. And so when it is plugged in the right way, it really gives you, the head coach, a whole nother dynamic that you wouldn't always have. I've had players that have come to me and said, hey, I thought that if a 5-hour energy drink was good, that 3 of them would be better. I've had young men come to me with some really serious injuries that they don't really want to fess up to. All of those different things, and there's not a player on that field, there's not a cheerleader on that field, there's not a water girl on that field that does not have something that they're struggling with. And as a coach, if you know what resources you're working with, you're going to be a lot more successful. So it gives me an opportunity to kind of give the coach maybe a different scouting report than what he's used to.
Sure, and that's a great phrase you said there, scouting report for the team that you are a part of, and that extra dynamic that you talked about. That's crucial in the development of young student athletes and becoming the best that they can be, not only as an athlete, but as a person. And I fully believe that, going back to that position, I think every school should adopt something along those lines to just have there as a resource, like you mentioned, and to be able to make those kids even better, because more good people around student athletes, the better. And so I'll leave it at that.
Sure.
Dave, can you tell our listeners some important life skills that will help student athletes for the future? I know we could, sit here and talk for hours about all of them, but if you could nail down just a few that you've experienced or maybe you've seen and you thought, man, that's probably more crucial than the next.
I'm always afraid when I hear a coach say to a player, these are going to be the best. You're going to remember these as the best times of your life. And you actually coached my son Nick, and when he would hear different things, and I always recall that you said that you will look back on these times and treasure them, but they weren't the best times of your life. And I would always say to my son, if these are the best moments of your life, you've not hit the mark you're shooting for. One of the things I think that the life skills that they come up with is perspective, that you put everything into perspective. This is high school athletics. It's very important. It's good for you. It's a growing experience. However, this is not the end of the world if you don't win. It's not the end of the world if you get injured, and you can carry on. I guess the one life skill that I try most to bring out in these young people is what I call the organic truth. And the organic truth is what any individual, or any situation really, but any individual is going to do organically without any coaching, without any inspiration. That's what they're going to do. And if you can understand what somebody's organic truth is about them, you can understand what part they're going to play in your life. So at a team dinner one night, I told the players to raise their hand and slam it on the table. Raise their hand, slam it on the table. And immediately they were in rhythm. Every hand, every time, every rhythm. It's just like beating a drum. And then I said, okay, now I want you to do the left hand. And they immediately got out of rhythm. I want you to do the right hand, out of rhythm. Because organically, some of them would have done it with the left hand, some of them would have done it with the right hand. And so as a coach, understanding what your players are capable of just organically without you inspiring them, that is your truest sustainable resource that you're working with. The kids that go out there with the headsets on and got to get the right music and got to get their game face on, I know that goes against coaching, but that's just silly because you can't sustain that. You can't drive that. So I try to get them to understand life skill-wise, what is their organic truth? Who are they really? What do they have? And what are they working with? And then you're not disappointed because you set the expectation something that wasn't possible for you.
That's a great life skill. That one we could talk on for a couple hours itself. But to kind of go off what you had mentioned, Dave, some other important life skills. I'm just going to ramble on here for just a second, learning their role. And that goes along with respect, because one day they're going to have a job or a profession that they love, hopefully, and that they want to go to every day and do the best that they can in their own role. And understanding their role on a team is important, because you may be a bench player, you may be a starter, you may be someone that may not play as much, but you are, learning that sport as you go on. And I think that's important, along with that respect factor of whether it's a teammate, whether it's a coach, whether it's someone like Dave, whoever it is, the respect factor needs to come into play. Going along with those two, teamwork. They should have a common goal when you're on a team, whether you are at a job or doing a profession. You should have teamwork. Is everyone going to be on the same page? They better be. At least in my opinion, they should be. Will there be different opinions and disagreements? Yes, I would hope to. I mean, that's how teams become better, is they go through those things, those trials, and understand each other even more. Honesty, that's everywhere. That's self-explanatory. Accountability, that's important, because the student athlete obviously has that major piece of education that comes before that, and they have to be accountable for that first. Then, of course, their respected sport. Responsibility, that goes with accountability, just being able to get things accomplished in a certain amount of time. That goes with time management. And I think one of the most important things is learning how to fail and learning from that, because nowadays it seems like people don't know how to handle that well, whether it's complete outbursts or emotional words that just come out without thinking. And I just think that kids need to, and it comes not just from kids, it comes from coaches, it comes from people around the program, parents even, that need to understand there are people watching and trying to be like you, whether you think so or not. And learning how to fail, at least as a mentor, you need to be able to do that in the way that it should be, in which, taking fault for your mistakes, learning, hey, I should have done this instead of that, instead of, pointing the finger or saying it wasn't me or whatever the case may be. But kids see that, and that's an important life skill, in my opinion.
Right. I think that you're exactly right. The communication, I've got about 16 or 17 years in youth ministry and family ministry, and whether I'm trying to work with a young person on their relationship with one another, with their family, or maybe it's a young couple and trying to help them in their marriage, it all comes down to communication. Being able to communicate clearly. We're all going to have different opinions. We're all going to have different approaches. You cannot be a coach and not have your way of doing things. That's just what coaching is. That's what it has to be. And when you have multiple coaches working together, trying to lead these athletes who oftentimes, like herding kittens, the thing there is that everybody has to have the same agenda. You may not have the same approach. You may not have even the same goal, but the agenda has to be the same. And the agenda being that, my son used to say that he's a friendly, easygoing kind of guy like you are, but he doesn't have to be best friends with the players. He come time to do that, his agenda is to do his job and to go out there. And if everybody goes out there and does their job, one of the things that we do before the game is a focusing meditation. And I have the guys picture themselves in the locker room, and I tell them to put everything in their lockers that they're not going to need for the next 2 hours. And it'll be there when they get back. But I want you to get rid of any distraction, any fear, anything that you're carrying around with you, because it's not going to help you. And from a coaching standpoint, if the young people look back to the sidelines and they see that their coach is losing their mind, just stomping up and down, screaming and yelling, when they see